Hello everybody, and welcome to the stream. Give me a moment here while I make sure I have my chat working and everything else set up. I have a feeling... Hello everybody, and welcome to the stream. Shut up, me. I always have to mute that. I wish I could mute that before I started. But yes, welcome. I'm Follygon, and we are going to be working on... Hello everybody. We're going to be working on a Jon Snow tonight. So give me a second here. Oh, chat is working. Yay. Awesome. I can close all this now. I'm so happy. That's great. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to be working on a Jon Snow tonight. The 2D concept that we're going to be working on tonight is actually a White Walker version of Jon Snow. Let me pull up my browser here. So, if you don't already, go follow Terry Way here over on ArtStation. It's just ArtStation/Waylie. And this is the concept that we're going to be working off of tonight. I've been working on a mummy character on my own stream, but we've taken a break yesterday and this morning to work on the human version of Jon Snow. I've been doing a bunch of like little heads and style studies. What's going on, Nick? And hip hop bebop, winter is coming. I totally agree. Actually, winter's already here for me. It's been freezing here. But yeah, Terry Way, definitely go give him a follow over on ArtStation if you don't already. I've gone pretty quick on this one, or at least I've tried to. So a lot of stuff is really rough. But with all that said, we're gonna start transitioning him into the White Walker version over here of Johnny Boy. The only other thing I'll shout out here at the beginning is my Gumroad, which I would appreciate if you check it out. It's just Gumroad/Follygon. I got some stuff on there for beginners, intermediate users, and advanced users as well, and a bunch of brushes, materials, and some other junk. I would appreciate it if you checked it out. But with all that out of the way, let's just dive right in. And as always, feel free to shout out any questions in the chat. I'll do my best to answer what I can. And as long as that's staying in place, I think we are good to go. All right, so I started breaking symmetry on our stream here. There's a lot of rough stuff going on here, right? I just quickly Dynameshed and pulled out some hair really quick, just to get it roughly framing the face in the basic shape that we're going to be wanting for this. I did some really quick poly extractions on the face for facial hair and eyebrows. Nothing too crazy. I guess we could turn on perspective. If you look at the armor down here that I pulled out really quick, this is all just, Dynameshed really quick, pulled out, and then cut up to be this specific shape. Nothing too crazy. All really quick. His mouth is even fused shut, and that's not going to be much of a problem for us because, well, his mouth was shut in both concepts. But today we're going to be going in a little bit of a sunken direction here in his cheeks. So let's get started. I think the best way to handle this will probably be to either hide or delete our facial hair for now. Let's see, mustachio. I'm gonna delete the mustache, and I might delete the beard. I might be able to reuse that, but I'm gonna be redoing a lot of this stuff. This shape's just completely different from the mustache, so I'll be redoing that for sure. And then for the soul patch, maybe we can blend that into the beard. So I'll hide that. What do we got here? Some quick lashes. I think we'll hold on to the rest of that. All right, cool. So let's get into our face. I am going to turn off Polypaint. I don't really like sculpting with Polypaint on for the most part. It gets very distracting, and it's hard for me to interpret what's going on in my form. So we'll toggle that off here. Darlin, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. I think the thing we need to do here first is mirror this back over. So let's do a quick mirror and weld, just to make sure that that is perfectly symmetrical. Like I said, we didn't break symmetry too hard. And I would like a a version of this that's a little bit easier to work on. So let's do that really fast here as well. I'm going to remesh, and I have keep groups turned on in the ZBrush palette. So what that'll do is it'll essentially just put a quick little loop around his mouth between his lips, which really isn't that big of a deal because it's not seen, but I guess just mainly for my sanity so that I understand what's going on with my form. His mustache is completely covering his top lip, isn't it? I actually have a friend that's in, he recently started doing beard competitions, and apparently you get points off on your mustache if you can see your upper lip. At least that's what he told me. I don't know how true that is. I obviously am not a part of the beard growing group. Alright, so after this remesh is done, very quick here. Oh crap. My bad, guys. I'm going to lower that a little bit. I didn't have symmetry on while we did that. We do want this to be symmetrical. Proportionally, excuse me. Proportionally, there are some major differences here, mainly just being how sunken in around the cheekbone and the mouth we're getting back through here. So that's going to be the main tweak. That and how sunken in the eyes are. I think that's going to be the other major change that we do here. So let's make sure our holes are closed up and start subdividing and projecting up through our chain here. And I'll do my best to explain everything that's kind of going through my head as I'm sculpting, but sometimes I get distracted. So if I do something too quick, or if I pull something up in a hotkey or a quick menu like this guy here, just let me know and I'll do my best to explain what I'm doing. Alright. So we got our subdivs, we are good to go. So a lot of the stuff that I like to focus on when I am trying to match a concept, specifically like this from this 3/4 view, is really focusing in on the silhouette. And there's quite a difference here in the cheekbone coming out through here. So we are going to need to find exactly where that hit is, pull that cheekbone out a little bit more, and start cutting in across the face. So I'm looking for a little bit of a line here, kind of going past the nose a little bit. So I kind of use a little bit of my face there to figure out exactly where I need some of this form to start changing. And we'll create a rough mask here and start pulling in around our mouth and our cheekbone to start getting this shape to be similar to what I'm seeing in the concept. So I'm going to pull in pretty tight there. It looks like we're getting kind of like this really hard transitional shape over here. I don't know if that will match on the other side exactly. Sometimes in 2D the artist will try to interpret what that surface will look like, and it might not be exactly the case there. So let's just try planing out some of these form changes. Again, we're going to need to just pull out along the cheekbone here, make sure that we're getting the proper angle coming down here. I think that could come out even more so. Link, what's going on? And Rod, saw your work on Facebook and immediately fell in love with it. Loved your art style. Thank you, man. Thank you, Rod. I appreciate it. Welcome to the stream, my dude. Let's see. Alright, so we've pulled in the cheeks. That was just like the first quick move, right? And now we're going to start planing out these transitions that I am seeing. So I'm going to use my pinch brush. That's what I like to use for this stuff, just to start getting these initial form changes. I'm just kind of, eyeballing this stuff. The entire point of the style studies that I've been doing most recently has been to, learn as much as I can from the 2D artist, but also attempt to work on just my artistic eye and ability to see form and be able to translate that to 3D. So it's been a lot of fun to do that. I would definitely recommend, you know, if you're new, if you're just starting out, I think if you're having trouble understanding some 2D illustration, or, you know, if you only have one view, oftentimes some drawovers can be really helpful with that. Even just taking, going into Photoshop or whatever application you're using for painting or drawing, and just doing a quick draw over the silhouette, just so you kind of mentally understand what's going on, and then some of these internal lines a little bit as well. I find that can be pretty helpful for trying to understand a concept. But specifically for me, for these, I'm trying to avoid a lot of that stuff. I'm trying to just do as much as I can here in 3D. And again, work on that artistic eye. Which, let's see here. We use our lazy mouse and start drawing in. I feel like this is supposed to be, this line going back is supposed to represent his zygomatic bone, the bone flowing back from your cheekbone, you know, going back to your ear, or you're connecting to your jaw back here around your ear canal. It's a little low though, so I'm not, you know, entirely sure what they were going for there. Let's at least put it in initially and see how that's starting to feel. And just continue to plane some of this stuff out a little bit. And I'm just, again, using my pinch brush, nothing fancy. And let's see. Getting a little bit more volume down through there. So let's see here. Let's trim this out a little bit around this edge. And the way I'm hiding stuff really quick, if you don't know, is solo mode down here. It's just a little bit easier for me to work on one thing at a time when I'm, you know, moving around like this, just to not complicate things for myself. We also want to pull out those brows. We'll do that here in a moment. Let's get a little bit of this hard transitional cut in here, and at least start to get this flow in the correct direction. A little bit of a hard plane here. And we're starting, as you start to use your pinch brush more and more, you're going to start pulling on this geometry. And if I step down to a really low subdiv, you'll see how we're pulling on that, pushing it all around. So I'd recommend, you know, be careful with your pinch brush, depending on kind of what stage of the process you're at. It's very easy to destroy a lot of your topology if you're worried about keeping your topology really clean. At this point, you know, I don't care. I need to warp this and get it a lot closer to what I'm seeing in this concept. All right, so the next thing is going to be to sink in these eyes quite a bit more. So let's create a quick mask around here. Probably just hide a lot of that. And make a really quick mask here. Soften it up. And I'm going to pull back on that without worrying about my eyeball. I'll slide those eyes back in just a moment. I want to try really pulling back there. See how far we can push this. Slide my eyeballs back a little bit. Let's just really exaggerate that transition there. And let's see. Just looking at the silhouette there, how that form is changing. We could probably move this little point up a little bit. I'm not incredibly worried about getting a pixel perfect silhouette here. I'd like to be close. I'm not really a super fast sculptor. At least in my opinion, I'm not very fast. I like to take my time and really clean stuff up, like almost obsessively. Let's see here. All right. We're getting a little bit of a plane change right through here that I don't really want. So I'm gonna try adjusting some of this just with my move brush a little bit. And there are some other forms here. Let's see. Nose is like widening out and flattening back here. We could try using the move brush with AccuCurve turned on. That's in your brush modifiers, or I think it's in just under brush curve. Brush curve there. You'll find AccuCurve. It'll give you a little sharp pull out here on your move brush. And then with that, let's change this plane here. Let's try to dip that in a little bit more. Just using my transpose line to do that as quick as I can. And there's a lot going on in the brow here that's quite a bit different, so let's probably just trim some of this in, fill this in, and then we can kind of sculpt this out really quick. So initially, I like to block some of this stuff out. I'll use, let's see here. I'll use like a damn standard brush or my sharp soft edge. They're pretty much the same thing, but just use this to kind of block out where we want some of these edges to go. So we got a little bit of a pull in on the brow, and then these are a little bit different. I think we'll just get, he's got like a little cut in his forehead there. I see. All right, so let's get a little pull up here, and then I'll just kind of follow that curve out. We can kind of build this brow shape up a little bit. For most of my form building, like what I'm doing right now, if I'm building up a shape or knocking it down, I like the clay tubes brush. I think it has a nice balance compared to the clay buildup brush. The clay buildup brush is just a little bit too strong for my liking, and it gets the hand really quick. Clay tubes keeps everything at about the same height. And I would just experiment with them if you're not sure on the differences. Let's see. So we want the form change at about there. So if I can, let's pull in a little bit over here. His eyebrows are gone, aren't they? Huh. Interesting. I just now realized. Let's sharpen up this edge here. Cut around. And pull. Whoops. If I can get that to flow nicely, that would be great. And as I'm building up the shape, I just need to make sure that I'm not screwing up my silhouette here too much. This form, for the most part, I want this to be a straight line, but you can see now that I've started to like fill this out, it starts to round out, and then we get like this awkward dip in and swoop out there. That's the kind of stuff that I like to avoid, especially just looking at the silhouette, you know. Anything that needlessly complicates your silhouette is pretty much undesirable. So let's try cleaning up some of that up through there. It's feeling a little bit better. All right, so just a quick little cut in the surface so I can figure out which way that needs to go. And we're getting very pinched through here. We'll start to clean that up in just a moment. out this brow a little bit. Lycos, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Graphics. Will I be your teacher? I know basics of ZBrush. I actually just yesterday put my mentorships back up on my Gumroad, which is just Gumroad/Follygon. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Are you using custom brushes? I'm using variations on brushes that exist already in ZBrush, and a few custom brushes as well, yes. I'll watch the rest tomorrow, it's bedtime. Dude, it's 6 p.m. here, so that's like almost my bedtime. You have a good night. Let's see. You want to make famous character designs and models, sounds like? Or you or you want to be famous? Alright, let's plane change. Tighten up in here. Getting a little bit too rounded. And kind of sharpen up. Let's just sharpen up a lot of stuff here that we got. A little bit of a bump here. Because if you want to be famous, you came to the wrong place and probably the the wrong industry. Let's see. Dark. Do you retopologize and rig your models? A lot of what I do is for either RP or so rapid prototyping or anything that's for production. So a lot of the times for my line of work, that's not really necessary. I'm not really doing a lot of stuff for animation. Yes. So animation, animation ready topology. Most of what I do is just making sure that everything's watertight at the end of the process. The only topology that I need to worry about personally, since I don't work in games and film, is just to make sure that I have the topology necessary to make the forms that I need. And right now that topology is really stretched and kind of goobered up, so I'm getting to a place where I will very soon need to do a quick just a quick Ziri mesh, just a quick auto retopology here in ZBrush. Let's mask off this nose and pull in some more. And we're probably at a point where we could start dynameshing back again. A lot of these are really tight. I'm not going to start to smooth these out or transition these at all, just because the polygon right now, like, it's so tight through here that that's actually not that bad. But after Dynamesh, that'll be a little bit easier to smooth out. Let's go ahead and also make this mustachio really quick. And duplicate, do a quick extraction here. There are a lot of ways to do extractions. You can use masking and group selections. A lot of the time I will, instead of using the actual extraction menu in ZBrush, I'll just manually do it. And I'll show you what I mean here by manually do it in just a moment. Let's see here. Let's just block out this really basic shape real quick here. And then we'll kind of pull it and adjust it. A big mustache, isn't it? Do White Walkers just continue to grow facial hair? That is the question. So There is the extraction menu down here. You can extract a masked piece of geometry. A lot of the time though, like I said, instead of finagling with thicknesses and everything else, I'll just grab my plane and manually add thickness to it. And there are a few ways to do that. Typically what I'll do is clean this up really quick. This is such a simple piece here. We'll just very quickly, let's see. We got a try in there. Let's do this. Whoops, we'll do a couple slices through here. And I'm actually going to delete that end piece, do a mirror and weld. And we have keep groups on, so hopefully that'll clean that up, which it did for us. A pretty decent job. We are getting a weird like little end point there and some other garbage here, but for the most part, that's fine with me. If I really want to clean that up, we can use our topology brush, which is another way. I like to just do this stuff really quick, but if you guys aren't familiar with the topology brush, it essentially allows you to just draw out curves on top of anything. We can just do this real quick. And just draw out a few curves here, and then you can generate topology based on that. So you can start to get your topology that way. We got a little funky there. Maybe we can do that real quick. It really doesn't matter to me, as long as I just have something that's quick and workable. So there you go. There's your topology brush trick. If you've never used that before, definitely check it out. It's fun to play with. For more complicated shapes though, I would recommend, you know, maybe not using that. Try something else, like what I was doing before with the extractions. Like if you're trying to extract clothing or something similar. Let's add in a quick few creases here. And just start pulling this around and shaping it up to what we need. Let's see. The sculpt without hair, eyes, armor, and everything else is looking very Dr. Manhattan. Nice. Dr. Manhattan is not a very attractive dude, so I don't know what that says about this. No, we're everything. That's why I typically recommend try to get all that stuff in early. Stuff can look really weird if you don't have all that in place. Alright, so let's start to get this basic shape here, pull around a little bit more. We can put in a bevel, let's see, around that edge loop with our Z modeler brush. And I'll have to recrease some edges to make that work a little bit nicer. Let's do that real quick. I wish beveling did not destroy creasing, but it does. It's an unfortunate little side effect. David, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. How many polygons? I don't know. I don't really care. Somewhere around 6.5 million right now, but that'll change. How do I contact you? Probably the easiest way would just be to email me. It's follygon@gmail.com. Or you can go up here to this link. I think it's somewhere up here. Right around here. Go to my Twitch channel and there's links to all my social media stuff over there. Let's see here. Get out of here, ugly. So we got our basic shape for our mustache. If we want to add Polypaint, quick little color here, we can do that. But I'm gonna leave that like simple piece of geometry for now. Where's our beard and little thing here? Let's see. So the way I was doing this before, I was just kind of pressing this into the surface because we were trying to do this quick to start to get these like, it's too pulled out right now. Okay, we'll just do this real fast. Let's merge all this garbage together. And just pull all this together. I don't even care. Make sure I can see what's actually happening. And then we'll just kind of, let's see. Whoops. how much extra volume we want to put on this. Quite a bit on the bottom. So for the bottom, what I'll do is do another quick Dynamesh. Like I said, I don't care too much. Let's start inflating this a little bit with our clay tubes. Sculpt that up. What's going on here? This is why I keep backface masking on all the time. Let's undo that real quick. It's pretty annoying. My brush was pulling through to the other side. I wish you could turn on backface masking by default on everything. To my knowledge, you cannot. It would be nice if you could. Let me just thicken some of this up. Like I said, it doesn't matter how rough it is. Just give me that basic shape. We're gonna put this at about the same level that the hair on top of our head is, which is very low. Very low bar to meet. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anything here. Using Maya right now, but you want to switch to ZBrush. Are there any changes in the interface? Yeah, there's quite a lot actually. I would say, you know, try it out. Maybe grab the trial. I think it's a 45-day trial. Is that correct? Somebody else in chat might know. But grab that and see what you can do. But yeah, I would say that the UIs are pretty drastically different. Let's get some more volume down here. Got some garbage on our canvas. I'm just going to sculpt up all of this real quick. And again, just using my clay tubes brush. Pretty willy-nilly right now. Let's just see how that's doing volumetrically. Oops. I want to make sure that that's kind of fitting the silhouette there right now. Gosh dang it. Keep pressing the wrong key. It's kind of squaring out his jaw a little bit on the bottom there. So we'll try to do that a little bit here. Graphics line. You just asked twice how to contact me. I'll say again. Just go up to this link up here, and you'll find all the info you need if you scroll down on that page. Or you got me right now. Jad says, did I miss the whole sculpt? You did not. We're working from a human version of Jon Snow to a White Walker version of Jon Snow. If you guys want to check out the process, actually, for the previous sculpt that we started with during this stream, that's over on my YouTube channel. You can just Google Follygon and you will you'll find it. Let's trim out some of this stuff. It's a little bit too hard, I think, in the transitions along the face there. And his eyes are going to be different as well. I can select them. Let's see. Joan, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. What am I going to do here? Probably just re-rotate this back to center. I don't really want to... Whoa, what the heck? That was a little weird. Alright. Delete that other eye. Reconstruct subdivs on this. sure we got that center point. Let's rotate our eye. And let's poly paint this up real quick. Fill object. Seems a little bright compared to that. So let's just take our RGB intensity, lower that. Start filling in some of that there. Let's go darker. Bam. Alright, give me this fluorescent glowing color. Almost emissive. Probably is. We got some subdivs here that we can work with. So I can use this mask that I created earlier, this poly group. Just kind of fill this in. Make sure our RGB intensity is back at 100. Fill that in. And actually, let's control click to blur our mask. You can also do that down here. Let's see, masking, blur mask. So just do that a few times, and then that will hopefully, yeah, get a little bit of that fading out towards the end, so it looks, it can look a little emissive that way. I'm not going to do any more than that probably, and just sample this inner color for the pupil. We got a nice point here that we can paint on, and just do like a tiny little pupil there. Got beady little eyes, doesn't he? Maybe make that a little bit bigger. Alright. I think I made the outside of that a little bit too dark, but that's okay. Let's do this. Let's use our mask again. It's a little bit hard to see the mask because everything is black right now. So let me sample this. And then we're just going to fill in some of this to start brightening that out. Yeah, it's feeling a little bit better. I don't want to spend too much time just sitting here painting an eye. So let's leave that for now, and then we can mirror that over to the other side using Subtool Master Mirror. Across the x-axis, yes, that poly count is okay with me. Oh no, it's not okay with ZBrush though. It's okay, we're gonna get a quick save, and we'll be just fine to grab that. It'll give us the Z tool that we need. So let's reload ZBrush. It's been a long time since I've had just a random crash. You had me at YouTube channel? Oh my gosh, this is always so bright. Yeah, any of my streams that I do on the Pixelogic channel obviously go up on there after I'm done streaming, and any of the stuff that I do on my own channel goes up on my YouTube channel forever. So anything that I stream on Twitch goes up there. Looks a little wonky. Let's grab that. Ah, I think I know why it crashed. Let's make sure that we don't have anything masked this time. Subtool Master Mirror, merge into one subtool, yes. Okay, I think that's what happened. That's okay, that's not a big deal. Like I said, ZBrush is really good at grabbing some quick saves, so if you do crash, it'll grab your Z tool like we did here. So we are good to go. And like I said, I probably won't do too much more with the eyes, or we'll just like rotate them into position. But where'd our image go? We need our image back, don't we? Let's import that again. Add to Spotlight. Whoop. And opacity. Spotlight projection. If you're going to use Spotlight as a reference tool, you have to turn off Spotlight projection. Wait, stop. Where's scale? There we go. Spotlight projection is in brush, samples, spotlight projection. So just make sure you turn that off if you're using the spotlight tool for a reference image. All right, let's get back here. Survived our crash without losing really anything. other than a little bit of time. Let's see here. Let's start pushing and pulling some stuff around and digging into our surface a little bit. I'll continue. Well, I'm going to use a little bit of a different brush than the Damn Standard. This is just a softer version of the Damn Standard brush. And I think our nose is still a little bit too thick, but that's okay. We'll fix that in just a moment here. Let's continue to cut into our surface and just block out where some of these lines need to go. This line is gonna change quite a bit. So let's see, let's grab our sharp soft edge brush again. And we got this like really deep cut through here. Very dark. Whoa. So if I were to render something like this and try to get a similar effect to what's going on in the concept, I'd have to get some pretty strong shadows going on in the eyes. Like, the way this is lit, I feel like there wouldn't be this amount of like, dark shadows in the eyes. Obviously, it's done intentionally. But you might have to get a few different render passes to try to get that effect. You probably couldn't do that in one. I don't know. I don't think you could. Or at least it wouldn't be super easy. So that's a pretty deep cut there. First cut's the deepest. And we'll just kind of pinch that out, blend that. What's going on, Engine? And Julie. Welcome, guys. What stuff would you recommend to change in the default ZBrush interface? I probably wouldn't recommend changing anything, to be perfectly honest. I would only change stuff after you've been using ZBrush for a while, and then there's some things that you personally, want to make easier for your workflow. Right off the bat, I mean, if, like, for example, if you're receiving mentorship and someone gives you their personal UI to work with, I would say, try it out, and if it works for you, awesome. If it doesn't, just go back to the default ZBrush UI. I mean, no harm done. But typically, at least in a mentorship state, I feel like, you might not know why you're doing something, but it does work. And sometimes that can maybe hurt you a little bit later. I don't know. Like I said, I would try out the default ZBrush UI if you're already using ZBrush. Just whatever you can change to make it easier on yourself. But I wouldn't say, like, this is the definitive way that everyone should have their UI set up. Because my UI isn't really all that different from the standard UI. I just have a bunch of crap down here that I use a lot, and then I have this quick pop-up menu that I have a bunch of stuff in, which I recommend. I would recommend making a custom menu and then setting it to a hotkey so you can pull that up whenever you need. I think that's pretty useful. And there's some tutorials you can find online for how to do that. It's really not that hard. In your ZBrush preferences, there are options to make custom menus, and then from there you can set up some hotkeys to pull that up from anywhere. Alright, so we'll continue to make some of these cuts. This line's kind of like flowing out here. And we're getting pretty sharp on a lot of these, so I'll be working on transitioning some of these. Extra hard edges. Let's rotate our eyes just so they're looking the way we want. And hopefully we can get to a point where we can very quickly start applying poly paint to this dude. You know what? Actually, let's just take this eye, rotate it out this way. It's really easy to make a White Walker look derpy. Just rotate his eyes, give him some bug eyes. And I might be able to like lower these in the head a little bit. Let's see, I'm gonna rotate this one back a little, real fast here. Alright, let's get back to our face. Trying to get some of these harder lines in here real quick. And let's start shaping up some more of this facial hair too. Sculpt is looking great. Thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. Don't forget to give Jon Snow his 2 iconic scars on his face. I'm not sure what his 2 iconic scars are. You might have to look that up. The brother? Which brother? My brother? The brother from another mother? This is Jon Snow as a White Walker. Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. Concept again by Terry Way. While we're waiting for this to load, check Terry out on ArtStation. Give him a follow. Definitely deserves it. Close holes. And I'm just doing this so that I can move the nose around. I think for the most part, if anything, I'll like pull in on the corner there on the silhouette, but for the most part, it's fine. It's not, like I said, pixel perfect, but she'll do. It'll do, donkey. That'll do. A very long projection. Sometimes projections go really quick. Sometimes they just like to take their time. But yes, whoever was mentioning the Dr. Manhattan, I am seeing it. Need to move my lashes back. We deepened this eye cavity quite a lot. So let me try realigning that. And honestly, I don't even know if I'll use this. This is just some quick tubes of geo that I've thrown in here for the human version of Jon Snow. Yeah, I don't know. It's so dark in there and hard to see what's going on. Let's turn them off for now. We'll mess with that in a little bit. Let's look here at our mustache. I'll initially just start, let's see here, softening some of these edges. And then there's quite a variation on the form down here. Let's see. We're going to want to pull this down quite a bit. Lengthen our mustache. Now I could grow a mustache, but I could not I could not do the beard. At least not to the Jon Snow degree. Benjen? No, yes, Benjen does become, not a White Walker, but, like something in between, right? No, this is indeed Jon Snow. It's supposed to be Jon Snow as a White Walker. Go to, Terry Way's art station and you'll be able to find the original concept. I kind of just pulled it up, so I don't want to keep jumping back there for new people joining in on the stream. And I'm just talking about the other concept. Obviously, we have the one here already pulled up in ZBrush. Starting to get a little wonky. Let's pull in more. Very quickly just smooth that out so I can fix that plane change. All right. Did I hear that they are rebooting Shrek? I did not hear that, quote, they are rebooting Shrek. Sony DreamWorks. Sony and DreamWorks, I guess. Well, that's fun. How do you reboot Shrek? And why? Shrek's perfect, alright? Shrek is love. Shrek is life. What could you possibly need to change? Just more Shrek movies. More Shrek merch. I've actually worked on some stuff for Shrek. And they were life-size. Stuff for an amusement park. They were life-size and they... essentially animatronics. They were a combination of, well, a lot of different materials. I should model Shrek. Permission to link Terry Way's page? Yeah, man, go for it. Absolutely. Definitely check out Terry Way's work. I mean, I'll do it. I don't think Terry's gonna care about a shout out. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. Alright, so let's make sure we got these cuts in here, feeling good. I like to get this stuff in. Whoa. I like to get some of this stuff in there a little bit. Kind of like hard at first, these hard transitional lines. And then I'll start to clean these up as I go. It's really, I mean, I would say if you're kind of new to try to avoid maybe doing a little bit of what I'm doing here by cutting in. I think it's good for, you know, blocking stuff out and figuring out where form needs to turn, but I don't know, I see it overdone a lot. And it's definitely overdone right now, right? But I'm going to be knocking it back. You just got to make sure that if you do stuff like this, you you know, you take it a little bit further and start knocking some of this form back down. I don't know if I like this little swoosh. So when I start building up like a cut in the surface or this like little transition, I'll start with like a damn standard brush and cut in really tight. Then you gotta make sure you go back through and build up on some side or knock down on another and adjust that further. It's gonna look really weird, really fast. It can be easy to get away from you. And we're a little rough right now, but we'll get there. Jon Snow. What's going on, Alex? Let's see. This is Jon Snow as a White Walker. Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. Alright, let's get in these cuts back up here. We can work on transitioning up through the nose. Fix this. And there's a very hard cut in up through here. Make sure we're doing okay on time. We're only about an hour in, so we got another hour to play around in the clay and answer some more questions, or play around in the polys, I guess. And if you are joining us here late on the stream, not a problem. All the stuff on the Pixelogic streams go up on their YouTube channel, so you can check it out there after the stream is over. Let's start changing this form here. Let's see. Let's turn off sim. I'm just gonna start filling in some of this extra stuff here. Whoops. I'm gonna turn off my material in Polypaint. I'm just gonna thicken this up. And I've made a pretty hard surface turn on that jaw, but that's okay. I think I'm fine with that angle that we're getting there, which is drastically a lot more sunken in, but it's kind of necessary for the silhouette changes that we're seeing. If anything, we could maybe, you know, start to trim up and fill in some of this. Like I said, I think I'm fine with the angle change that we're getting in there. Oh, come on back. Let's go back to our beard and continue pulling out all sorts of garbage. Really round that out. And let's see. So we have a lot of painterly effects going on here, which is fine. A lot of it's really cool. I'm into it. But instead of doing that, essentially I'm going to do the same thing that I did before, using like a NAM standard or something similar. Whoops. Start kind of pulling in some of these shapes. And essentially enough so that we can see some of the chin underneath. So that's the basic idea. And we can adjust that as we keep going. Let's see. Let's get a few of these real quick. And I'm not gonna match this shape perfectly. I'll just do a few of these really quick here. Then after that, let's see. Another way that you could do this, these aren't cutting up very nicely, but slicing some hair up into parts and then, or slicing his beard up into different meshes. Let's see here. To work with it that way might be a little bit nicer. I'm just trying to get a little bit of surface breakup, so we don't have just a straight line for the beard. Oops. And I'm probably not going to do much texturing on that. If you look at the hair up here, like this is all, I did this in maybe like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, just pulling stuff out really, really fast and dynameshing and just going through real quick with my clay tubes brush. Essentially just to get some kind of silhouette block out on the face. If I was actually going through with this hair, I mean this hair is almost like perfect as a reference for working in 3D. At least what you can get from, you know, the information that we can actually see. Just because it's so like hard edged and really volumetric, it's like, I mean, you could low poly model that pretty easily as long as you match the form, but I don't want to sit here and we only got 2 hours, so let's try to focus on as much as we can instead of focusing on the hair for 2 hours. I did mention though in my stream this morning on my channel, if you guys would like to see how I go about modeling hair, I have a bunch of videos of course on my YouTube channel, but if you'd like to see a new live stream of something similar, we could definitely do that in the future. If that sounds like something that would interest you, definitely let me know. And we'll play around with that in the future maybe. Depending on, of course, how much interest there is. Alright, so just some like quick garbage here. And we'll take this to about the same level as up above with the hair. Just adding in some rough volume. Using that clay tubes. And let's see. Ashley, welcome. What's going on? Alright, so some quick added volume around there. I'm getting very round here at the bottom, aren't we? So we could maybe try to square that back out. What's wrong? Got my back face masking on, of course. So let's just continue to keep this rough. And maybe throw some quick, just some quick poly paint on this hair so it's blocking out in the correct shape. Let's see, wrong material. And I'm just gonna pull this in here. Cover up that lip. Let's see here. Do I do realistic sculpts at all? Yeah, go check out my art station. I got some stuff on there. Jay chillin' like a villain. Most of what I do is what I would consider a cartoony style. I like to say somewhere between, or what I try to aim for in my personal stuff is a lot of the time somewhere around somewhere between Disney and Nintendo. Pull a lot of what would be the word? Inspiration from there. Alright, let's see, what do we want to do here? Move AccuCurve. Just pushing and pulling some geometry around real fast. A lot of form. Let's see. This material did not apply down here. It's my fault. Here, I'm going to switch to the ZBrush paint as well. We can add some paint on our face as well. What's going on here? Play nice. Let's see. Robo Wheels, what's going on? Adopted your Dynamesh to ZBrush, worked pretty good. Yeah, you know, if you're not worried about topology, you can just go ham. Use whatever you need. I'm just going to simplify this a little bit. Just so I start getting a little bit of a break up there. I'm not going to do the amount of hits that we have in the surface in the concept here. So just simplify that a little bit there. And maybe do a couple quick cuts in the surface. I was just using move backface masking to close that up real quick, just to make that a little bit more graphic. He's got one of those in the middle. Alright, so really quick there, and let's see, up here on the face, let's just add some quick poly paint on here. I'm going to grab my, just a quick ZBrush material, mRGB, I'm just going to sample a color here from the surface, fill object, and that's just going to be my base, and then from there, I'm going to start sampling some more colors here, drop my RGB intensity down around 10 or so. Whoa, make sure Z add is off, and start to fill in some of these colors here. Top lip is never seen, so I don't really care too much about that. Let's just block this in really quick. And again, make sure that RGB intensity is down pretty low, or else you're gonna probably get some really strong paint on there you don't want. And sometimes I would say it's cool to paint in some shadows, maybe around his eyes. It gets so dark up in here, it might be cool to darken up around here, and we could experiment with that real quick. I find that painting in shadows gets overdone really easily. So I tend not to do it too much, but maybe we could just like darken up through here a little bit. I don't think that's too terrible. It's easy to kind of knock this back too. I don't know how far can we push these bad boy eyes? And then there's some few additional cuts and scars in there that we can get. There's definitely some weird junk going on with the brow there that we can try to get in. Did you start this from a base head or from scratch? The first head was made from scratch. So let's see. We did a quick human version of Jon Snow, and what we're doing now, if you're joining in a little late here, we're turning him into the White Walker version. So this was just started from a sphere. Everything was done real quick from scratch. We did this morning on my my Twitch channel, which is just twitch.tv/Follygon with an underscore at the end. I've been trying to get rid of that pesky underscore, but Twitch Twitch support. Don't you know who I am, Twitch support? Come on. If I ever got to a point in my life where I could pull that card, I would feel like a total D-bag for doing that. I'm Jon Snow. Come on. Come on, guys. Alright, let's get a little bit more paint up in here. Up in here, up in here. Alright, let's see. Let's just turn off symmetry and go ham and cheese here. Give me that Damien standard brush. What you got going on here, Johnny boy? Maybe we'll do Peter Dinklage next. Whoa, okay. Tyrion Lannister's got some nasty scars going on too, doesn't he? All the cool characters have scars. Alright, what do we got going on with the brow here? We've got some... Yeah. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. Do White Walkers just have like this pattern on their eyebrows or something? Do you guys remember in the... oh yeah, I guess they kind of do have a lot of junk going on, don't they? So I guess they have more than just lines on their brows. Do you guys remember in the first season of Game of Thrones though, when the White Walkers looked really dumb and then they just got way better? If you go back and watch some of the old stuff, they look kind of dumb initially. They end up getting real rad bass later, though. We can just do like some more of these. I don't really care. Do the White Walker, the one that we were just looking at. Oh no, I made his little forehead scar up too high, didn't I? Oops, I'll just fill that in real quick. His forehead could probably be a lot taller. My alt click is being really dumb. What's going on right now? Ah, of course. Always with the back face mask, and I always forget to turn it off on my move brush. one of the most useful, quick little tools, but then I need to remember to turn it off. I always forget. It's not my fault. Just forgetful. Let's see here. Something like that. And there is some really cool stuff that you can do with like cavity masking to, if you want to like add poly paint in only a specific area. It's pretty nice. Maybe we can look at that real quick. I don't know how useful that'll be here though. Oops. Cut in there a little bit more. So in your masking palette down here, let's see, mask by cavity, we'll just try the quick little default setting there. That's not too bad. We can like soften that out maybe a little bit. And then try sampling that purpley color. Let's go a little bit brighter. Maybe a little bit too much, that's fine. And then you can do some different stuff with this to get some different effects. That can make it a little bit easier on you if you have a lot of stuff that you need to get some texturing in. That's maybe a little bit more complex than just a single curve. Real fast. And also your smooth brush by default, it does have RGB on, which could be nice for polypainting certain things, but for something like that, while I'm smoothing out some stuff, I might not exactly want that to affect the color. So I'll turn that off temporarily. It is very nice though, that you can essentially gradate between two colors using just your smooth brush. It's a pretty cool effect. Let's do the same thing over here real quick for their nose. Yeah, let's see. Let's get in here. Whoops. Gonna mess with the lazy mouse as well to paint in some stuff. That's like a little bit of a more saturated, darker color. It's a little hard to sample because it's so tiny. So I'm not gonna try again. If you're trying to sample colors from an image, it might be nicer if you just, get in here and blow up your image quite a bit. Or even throw it in Photoshop or something and start sampling in there. Whatever works best for you. Whoa, come on back. Alright, let's continue to clean up some of these cuts that I've put in pretty roughly and go from there. The 3 diagonals, yeah, we'll play around with that some more here. Let's see. What's going on, Wally? Wally, welcome to the stream. How you doing, my dude? Everybody's my dude tonight, I guess. We've kind of manually painted in some of these shadows. I'm just pinching up some of this form up here. And I'm gonna mess with that curve ever so slightly. Typically, what I'll do, kind of start to fade these out a little bit as they get closer to the end. And luckily our brows are still symmetrical, so it's really nice and easy for us to work on these. You know what? Are they perfectly symmetrical? Yes, they are. Okay, so let's try that again with the mask by cavity really quick. And we can maybe adjust our settings if we need to. I don't know, we'll say sure. Stick with that real quick. You always have to turn on your spotlight little puck there if you want to be able to sample colors. And I think we're gonna want, oh crap, that's fine. We'll just use this darker color because I think it's gonna need to be a little darker here. Whoa. I'm just gonna use my RGB paintbrush here. Turn off lazy mouse. Paint these in pretty dark, so it's easy to knock it back after. And it's a little overdone here. Like I said, not super hard to knock back, but I'll kind of mess with that a little bit. And I don't really know how I feel about like painting in the shadowed areas around the eyes. A lot of the time it just feels really overdone. As long as we're not getting like crazy dark in here when we go to render, I'm kind of okay with it, I guess. Let's get a little bit more value range in some parts of the face. Let's see here. And I'm trying to do this poly paint rather quick, but I think it gets the idea across. Or hopefully it does. Got a little cold nose. Sorry if I've missed some things in chat here. It's going by a little too fast for me to read. Water Schneider, what's going on? You missed too much. No problem, man. If you go to the Pixelogic YouTube channel after, you'll be able to catch up, as well as my YouTube channel for the first version of this guy, the human version. Let's see. Liking the scars, thanks Julie. Love Game of Thrones, me too. Hence the dude. Let's see. If you smooth, it blurs out the color. Yes, but only if you have RGB turned on for your smooth brush. So hold down Shift for your smooth brush and make sure RGB is turned on. It is turned on by default. Robo Wheels is heading out. Later, man. I've missed a lot here. I'm sorry, guys. If I do miss anything in chat or any questions, just feel free to repost it if I do miss anything. And I'm not ignoring you, I promise. Alright. So yes, if you have RGB turned on your smooth brush, it will affect your polypaint, which is pretty nice. Sometimes you don't want it though, so I'll turn it off. Some instances. Let's see. I was doing some quick like color sampling of the beard, and I think we'll just go back to making sure everything's the same color here. C, by the way, is how I'm sampling colors. If I did not clarify that, the C key will allow you to sample anything in ZBrush actually. Let's darken that a little bit. So I'm just setting up some of this just to make it all the same color so it frames the face. Very quick, very rough hair, but it at least gets the point across here. Looks like the angle of that is actually pointing down quite a bit. Feels very flat to me. And it's just like the way he shaded that. It needs to have a little bit more volume though to be able to cover his lip. So if it doesn't, I have it sticking out maybe a little bit, like it could. I can't really change this angle too much. I don't know. It feels very flat to me. That could just be, you know, a problem in 2D. Let's look at these cheekbones real quick here. I'm thinking I want to slide this point up a little bit more and make sure this is coming out some more too. I got a little bit too much volume going on back here in the jaw, which isn't, you know, the end-all be-all, but it does kind of bother me. Your cheekbones should be, whoa Nelly, should be for the most part, you know, with stylization, there's a lot of differences that can happen there. But your cheekbones should be probably the farthest point out on your face. Talking width here, the widest point out this way. Which, right now, this isn't really... It's a little tough here for me to like interpret what this shape is supposed to be over here, because it feels really low to be a zygomatic or a cheekbone or anything. So it just feels a little bit awkward, so I've tried not to, you know, plane this out too much going up through here, just because of that reason. Obviously this is the point of his cheekbone. The angle that edge is flowing indicates that it's like flowing back and down, whereas, you know what, let's just take our ears and lower these down as well. We got some pretty high ears, but let's play with it very quickly here. That might make that feel a little bit better to me. play around here with this perspective a little bit. Feeling a little flat to me in 3D, so I'm just gonna bump my angle of view up. I had it on the default of 50, but I wanted to tweak that a little bit. Get that going out a little bit more. Let's see, there's a lot we can continue to do, but how about we make this little wolf sigil, since I didn't make this earlier. This little hard surface piece down here. I think that'll be fun. And unless anybody has any specific other questions, I'll continue with that. Probably just grab a sphere and start going ham and cheese as we do. Let's grab our clay material here for sculpting. A little bit of a relief sculpture. This kind of stuff is always fun to play with, in my opinion. So let's grab our undead boy. I'm gonna just ploop him up here on the corner while we do this. So if anybody pops in and sees us just working away on a little wolf relief, they can see the full thing over here so far. So I'm gonna jump right into Dynamesh on this. Because this is so small in scale, Dynamesh resolution is gonna have to be a little bit higher to work with, but we can just kind of cut some stuff up, start sculpting away. Let's see. We'll play around with the snake hook for a few different areas. I don't really use the snake hook very much. It's a very strong brush. I don't use it very much because I don't like it, but most of the time the move brush is pretty good at getting what I need. And because this is a relief, we want this to make sure that we don't have any floating parts. So let's see here. I'm actually going to hide the back of that. Let's drop in some quick spheres for where the eyes will be. We'll begin placing those. Off the paint there. Whoops. Stop these, please. Always forgetting to turn off my back face masking, of course. That is my #1 job. Show off a feature and then forget that I have it on. Alright, let's pull around here proportionally so we're getting closer to the right shape. And I'll probably use my pinch brush here on the sides to start getting this a little bit closer to what we're going to want. Probably even feel free to delete a lot of that backside since it's not really necessary. And that'll make some of this a little bit easier for us. If we want to make sure that we're getting proper thickness up there in the ears, we can pull out that poly group. If you don't know how to do that, that quick little mask trick that I did, I Dynameshed that hole so it closed and created a new poly group, and just control click with either your 3D gizmo or your transpose tool active, and that'll mask everything except that poly group, which can be a quick little trick for that. It can be very, very helpful. Alright, so we got our quick spheres for our eyeballs, and we'll just start sculpting up some of this. And make sure that we're getting that flow in the correct direction. So that's gonna cut back in that way, that's fine. I'm gonna have to pull this up some more as we work on this shape. And I'm just doing this all in Dynamesh. We'll eventually probably remesh this here in a little bit, but let's just kind of continue cutting into our surface, not doing anything too crazy. Use our pinch brush. And let's see here. Let's start planing out some of this some more. And I think I'm going to redo these ears because I want them to be, the surface is like turning a little bit too quickly there. So let's make sure that we're getting a real nice silhouette first. Rounded shape. And let's see here. Spinello says, did you use Dynamesh to sculpt the face? It was a combination of Dynamesh and auto retopoed geometry through ZBrush. Back and forth. Fat Boy says you do good work. Well, thank you, Fat Boy. Appreciate it. Oh, Ghost of Christmas Future is here as well. What's going on? And you know what? Let me scroll up here. I'm gonna check over on Facebook real fast to make sure that we're not missing. I don't have it pulled up anymore. That's my bad. Let me check the Facebook link just to make sure chat's working. I got it here. Alright, cool. It's been really finicky in the past. If you guys have been watching any of the other streamers here on the channel, I'm sure they've mentioned it as well. But I think we finally got it back up and working here recently. The external chat app was broken for a couple weeks there, and I had to keep like 3 tabs open up on my other monitor and jump back and forth between all the chats, and it was, whew, it was fun. Ooh. Calm down, ZBrush. I love the quick save feature in ZBrush so much. I wish that that feature, exactly the way it works in ZBrush, existed in other softwares, like in every software. It's just, it's probably one of my favorite features because it, especially with 2018.1, like the newest update. Actually, even with just like 2018, pretty much anytime I do experience any kind of a crash or any situation where I might lose something or I forget to save something, I pretty much always get a quick save, which is, you know, a lot more than you can say for other similar softwares. A very nice little feature. I say little feature, but it's a pretty big feature, I guess. Let's see, let's pull down around here. And again, because this is Dynamesh, I don't care how chunky or junky that gets. I really just need it to pull that shape down some more. So it might be, you know, a little bit faster to poly model some of this stuff, but I like getting in here and playing in the dirt sometimes. Plus, on our last stream, we did a ton of stuff with ZModeler. So if you guys are interested in the ZModeler brush, or just like poly modeling in general in ZBrush, definitely check out that stream. Did a lot more stuff with that than we're doing in this one. Just some quick Dynamesh geo. Let's see. Start trimming this out. Let's start getting his little nose in here. I'm gonna do a quick cleanup here, and then we'll keep going. I'm not even gonna project that because I don't need any of that additional garbage. So somebody was asking about Dynameshing on the face. Did I sculpt it with Dynamesh? Yeah, a lot of the early stages are. I would say it's pretty similar to what I'm doing with this, if you've never watched me sculpt before. You know, start blocking some quick stuff out with Dynamesh, and then start getting more into cleaning stuff up with subdivs. It really just kind of depends on the situation, and more so what I need specifically for that situation. Every time it's a little bit different. I don't get to a stage where I'm like, okay, now this is where I Z-remesh everything and start using subdivs. It's definitely on a, per case basis. Yes, I do use projection all the time, especially when I'm jumping back and forth between Dynamesh and Z-remesh. Yes, all the time. What resolution do you use? 12 million poly? Heck yeah, man. We use as much as it takes to create a form. If you're making, well, I don't know, literally anything here on my desk. I got a bunch of stuff. I keep showing off the 3D fusions that I did. There's a bunch of these little dudes. I'm not gonna continue to pull them up since I feel like I've done it so often in the past. But whatever it takes. Polygon count doesn't really matter when you're working on stuff for production. Let's see here. Can you add me on Facebook? I don't really use my personal Facebook account, so if you found my Ben Angelis account, I don't really use that. So I do have I literally never post anything. I do have a Facebook Follygon page though, and I do post stuff on there, albeit not as often as other places, just because I'm not much of a Facebook fan myself. But yeah, definitely. Let's see, we got like 15 minutes left on the timer, so we'll try to hurry up here. I'll try to go a little faster, cleaning up some of these edges. What are your system stats? My processor is an i7 something Lake, I don't remember. It's I think an 8-core. Yes, 8-core i7 something from 3 or 4 years back, maybe. I have 64 gigs of RAM, and I have a 980 GPU, GTX 980. What's going on, Maroon? Welcome to the stream. I like. Do you know Rafael Grissati personally? I do not. I do not know Rafael Grissati personally. Why do you ask? It's a little bit of a weird question. You looking for a hookup? Let's clean this up a little faster. As I said, I am such a slow sculptor. I think I am. And I have some additional thickness on this, just because it's easier for me to sculpt, but we'll be deleting a lot of that. Using move backface masking here. Let's see. We need to put our ears back in real fast. I think I just kind of pulled those out a little bit too quick earlier. Bam! Ears! Wasn't that fancy? It's that transpose tool. It's cooler than you thought. Alright, I'm gonna use a little trick here called... Oh, I might have removed it. Did I remove it? I think I removed it, because I don't use it as often as I used to. I used to use this a lot in molding processes, make sure that my seam lines were set up. But there's this awesome little polygroup function, group front, and if you're doing anything for molding. So I've done this really quickly here to generate a quick mask. I was hoping it would get some of this, but that's okay. We'll just mask this off the old-fashioned way. And I am just masking off everything to only have this, pretty much just this front face. And then I'm just going to delete everything except for that. I want this to be pretty much just flat. Masked this stuff pretty well. I mean, some of this is like a little janky, but meh. That's alright. That too, you gotta watch out for. So it's good for molding because you can catch when you have overhangs and undercuts. So that would tell me, you know, that mold might lock there. It's so small, it wouldn't do anything. But quick little group visible, mask that, delete everything else, and now I just have this turn on double because we like to see our backside polys. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see. What else? Probably knock back this edge a little bit. It's really interesting watching you sculpt that wolf. Well, thank you. It is not a very good representation, in my opinion, quite yet. Let's see. Alright, so I'm using my pinch brush to clean up some of this stuff. Proportionally, there are a lot of things that are off here, but it gets the basic idea across. Let's see. And then, you know, we have some open surfaces back here. What do we do with that? There's a lot of options. One thing you can do is use group loops with these settings, 1 and 0 for the polish. Make sure you don't have any subdivs. Run that operation. Control click, invert that. And we have a little extra poly group that we can pull out here. And I'm not going to close holes on that quite yet. I will, actually, yeah, I will. I want new geometry so that when I run a ZBrush with keep groups on, it'll clean that up. So I'm like jumping back and forth between Dynamesh and ZBrush, essentially each pass getting a little bit more clean than the next. What the heck is that? Well, that sucks. I guess my, I was trying to do a quick little poly group thing, but wasn't playing very nice. Ian, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. There we go. That's a little bit better. We'll make that work. Ah, crap. There we go. So this will be the final little pass on this. You sculpted a bokoblin. Ooh, I want to see. Post a link in chat. I love me some Zelda. The Legend of Zelda. Let's see. Whack Kim, what's going on? So again, this is like the final pass where I would really start to polish some stuff up. Looking like that's getting a little bit thicker as it goes down. These aren't as sharp as they could be. Like I said, we're not proportionally there exactly, but we're within range. We're within striking distance. So we'll say that that's good enough. try to sharpen this up one last time. And I've tried to kind of fit this a little bit so that it will wrap around here. Whoops. Might have given it a little bit too much wrap. So if that is the case, it's not hard to squash that out and make adjustments that we need. Let's see here. Let's do this. Let's get rid of some of the roundness that I have sculpted in here. So we'll just start to flatten that out. And I'll probably leave the rest of that. Whoa, come on, flip the mask, do it. Why aren't you flipping? And then we could, you know, sculpt this up a lot more, but we'll just say, sure, that's good for now. For our little piece there. Make that the same material. Make sure we fill in that material as well as the color. And yeah, we could do a lot more with this, but let's leave them there for now, I think. And if you were following along earlier today when I was doing this quick junky armor that I just like sliced up really quick, it's not very clean, so I can't do a lot with it. But I might be able to, let's see. Now I can't even sculpt like quick little cuts in here, not without dynameshing some of that, which isn't necessarily difficult. Well, bam. Why is my... Oh, I wasn't even using my damn standard brush, was I? Hey, that's a bad stroke, because we don't want... That's very strong. Let's try that again. There we go. My brush, it felt like the sensitivity on it or something was not working. It was being very weird. Nightbot's warning me. Stream's almost over. Grand Pilaf. I do have a Twitch channel. There's a link to it up here. Twitch TV/Follygon with an underscore at the end of it. I stream on there every day at noon Eastern. And then I stream here on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Eastern US. I'll just do some really quick slices on our surface. We gotta get out of here. Rah! Beautiful. Just carve right in through there. Really screwed up his armor. Great. Beautiful. Whoops. Vindy, what's going on? Let's see. Show us how you would do a bokoblin. I would love to do a bokoblin. Like I said, I love me some Zelda. Maybe we'll do something Zelda-y, Zelda-ish, Zelda-like in the future. That character looks cheerful. Well, thank you. Yeah, so I'm not going to do too much more with this right now. I think we are pretty much out of time here. But I want to thank you guys all for coming and hanging out. Next up on the stream, whoops, where's Broza? Next up on the stream is Jose. He's doing some concepting with creatures and characters for production. So that'll be really cool. That's going to be in an hour. Check that out. I'll also, again, you know, my Twitch channel is just Twitch TV/Follygon with an underscore at the end. What else we got here? We got my Gumroad. I shouted this out at the beginning of the stream, but it's just Gumroad/Follygon. If you're brand new to ZBrush, brand new to digital sculpting, I have a quick start course for you guys that you can check out. I'd appreciate it if you checked out the link. Got some more intermediate stuff and some more advanced stuff for some of you that are some veterans in here. I also got some other stuff like materials that I use, brushes that I use, some render setups, and some base meshes. Most recently, I uploaded some curve brushes, and you can get all 4 of those for $1. But yeah, I think that's going to be all, guys. Definitely click follow or subscribe, depending on, I guess, where you are, what lingo the social media network uses for the Pixelogic channel. Check out the official ZBrush Discord channel as well. If somebody has a link to that, they could share that. That would be awesome. I do not have a link handy. But thank you guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Everybody. Oh my gosh. You all have such difficult to pronounce names, and I literally am not even going to try. but thank you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Awesome stream. Nice job. Cool. All right. Well, I don't think we have any last minute questions, so I think that's going to be it. Again, Jose's going to be on in an hour, and I'll see you guys here next Tuesday or tomorrow morning for me, on my channel. So I'll see you guys. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.